Enjoy the drink that has got the tamarind juice in it. Made by Alleluia Reflexology, Healthy Solutions and Nutritional Research Center Limited. Get yourself a bottle of Alleluia from all shops around.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Well, good morning, Uganda, and thank you so much for choosing to start the day with us. It is Wednesday, and we're looking at how far we can actually help you move into today by inspiring you. And of course, this is where we do get you some of the latest updates across the country and beyond. And obviously, we do have topical discussions as well, where we make sure that you're engaged and on issues that concern you, concern the country, and some of the things that you can actually comment on. We do have a number that runs on the screen for you to get engaged in our conversations for today. My name is Mollen, Kenyena. I have the two gentlemen here with me in studio, and of course we're here to make sure that we can spice up your morning. Now also we do have a continuing issue across this country, and of course we have seen about three hospitals now that have been cut off in terms of water supply. And yesterday, the National Water and Sewage Corporation did actually have a press conference where the MD did come out to iron out some of the issues regarding the failed payments by some of these government agencies. And this has actually taken them to a decision where they do have to cut off water bills. Now, this is something we also did talk about yesterday, and we are concerned because yes, they have a justification for why they are cutting off some of these institutions, especially for hospitals, but then again we know that they are also asking for intervention from all the concerned authorities to make sure that some of these hospitals are put back. And the latest was Hoima Hospital that was also cut off, adding to Naguru China Hospital, as well as Entebbe Hospital that was also cut off due to the National Water and Sewage Corporation demanding for the areas that they have. Now they also did mention a few of the government agencies or government organs that have also had those areas, and the MD did warn that they should also be ready because any time from now they could be cut off. The big question is how can government come in to find kind of immediate solutions, especially when it comes to the hospital situation, because we know that people do need health care, and this is something that shouldn't be put on hold. Now, this is just very sad because we know that a lot of Ugandans, all of us actually count on hospital help. Now, as well, on a very, very sad note, this morning, just a few hours ago, we learned of the passing of the former legislator for Lubwama South, that is Honorable Kato Lubwama, now the late, who passed on, a very, very sensational person who has inspired a lot of Ugandans right from the times we got to know him. Through his comedy, through his stage acts, and then later into parliament. This is a huge loss to the people of Lubwama South that did have to support him during the time that he was leading them as the member of parliament. And of course, we will miss his very, very inspiring nature, his very sensational nature, and of course the humor that he did bring on, not just to the people in Lubwama, but Kampala as well, Central, as well as the rest of Uganda. And obviously the fact that he was an actor, we know that his work will live on, and we want to join the family, the rest of the country, to actually remember him and pray that may his soul rest in eternal peace. Quite a sad morning if you look at the views that are coming in, the comments that are coming in, even on social media. People are very, very saddened by his death. Now, we also want to add to that and make sure that we know at least a few things that we remember about the late Kato Lubwama. I'll start with Robert. Good morning. Some of the memories that you remember about this honorable man.
Good morning to you, and good morning our viewers. Indeed, it's a sad morning where we've lost Honorable Kato Lubwama. Now, Kato Lubwama, I remember him more so during his days on one of the local stations, which is CBS. I heard a lot of skits there, but also it was a very interesting program, listening to him. You know, he was drama, he lived drama. Everything of him on him was dramatic. That in every moment he would find a way of making people laugh and smile, but also in the media fraternity, because for me I look at Kato Lubwama not as a member of parliament, because during his time in the house, I don't want to say there is so much, but that drama, he was always a person on social media, he was a person everywhere he would be. This man has been full of drama and putting smiles on people's faces. So that is one thing I remember Kato Lubwama for. We've lost someone. And actually, he made many people in the music industry, in the entertainment industry. Many went through Kato Lubwama's hands. There's a song by one Sami Sachisemakula where he comes up and praises. Many of them say, if it wasn't because of this man, I wouldn't be who I am today in the entertainment industry. But also he works so much on media. So even as the journalism fraternity or the media fraternity, we've lost a friend. I was also told even on the media house somehow. So it's a great loss. We pray for the family that the Lord may strengthen them. And of course, we all live and die. But the biggest question is, what legacy do you leave behind? He brought this slogan, Mumpenange and then to knew that vote for me, I also going to eat something. And of course, they voted for him. He did. When he came back, is when they said no. I think this is enough. So he's a person we will greatly miss.
Well, obviously, and still it hints to his sense of humor. He had that very dry humor that did touch a lot of Ugandans, even like you say, during his during a lot of sessions in Parliament. People were always counting on the fact that he will bring in the humor. Good morning, Felix. Your memories about the late Kato Lubwama.
Good morning. How are you, Mollen?
I'm all right. I'm all right.
Well, must add my voice to yours and entirely to the entire country in mourning now the late Honorable Paul Kato Lubwama, my former Member of Parliament. By the time he was a Member of Parliament, I was actually still residing in Rubaga South. Fortunately, I've known him even far before he was Member of Parliament, because he used to dwell in the areas of Mengo. So at least I knew him. And being a person who was so interested in radio, and probably most so, he used to have a talk show with a lady called Hanifa, something like that, right around. So my grandmother used to listen to it. I would somehow get lost in that. But it is sad, as Robert said earlier, very, very talented in many aspects. He's been a musician, an actor, a writer, director, producer, and also later on politician. He's also been known for his honesty. He's a person in Uganda we say, or we call that Muntu Ateria and Tama. Robert will give you a direct translation of that.
He would call a spade a spade.
Yeah, it is and we need more people like that. We need more people like that in this country.
He would stand for what he believes in, no intimidation.
No.
And he would really speak out his mind.
And see it up to the end. Yes. I've heard him and his political comments against particular people in Buganda, in NUP, in NRM. He wasn't about trying to pretend. Pretense wasn't one of his things. But one thing I noticed, I think a year ago, around probably a year, he was admitted in Turkey, if we all remember, when he was very ill. But when he came back, I think he tried to change his lifestyle. He tried to do the things he loved to do. He tried to live a happy life. At least he has been known for being a happy person, regardless of anything. And it is from God that he gives, and it is him that takes. So we do pray for the resting of the soul of our brother, Paul Kato Lubwama, and of course our condolences to his family.
Well, indeed, and obviously we will miss most of the work that he has created and probably would have created, because we know that still he has been a very, very key figure in directing and contributing to Ugandan film industry. But we know that those stress relieving clips and videos that he created will still live on. We pray that may his soul rest in eternal peace.
Well, but Mollen, also importantly, today we are expecting the State of Nation address by His Excellency. Then next week we shall have the reading of the national budget. But Ugandans are so optimistic on a number of issues that His Excellency will be handling. We hope that these issues will again feature, because much as it's a constitutional mandate for His Excellency to come and update the nation of what is happening, and we are eagerly waiting for that. Still, we hope that every aspect that many Ugandans are hoping to, the issues of security, the issues of corruption, the issues of security generally. We've had these shootings here and there. So we are eager, waiting, and Uganda Broadcasting Corporation, you can be rest assured, just be on UBC TV. We'll give you the State of Nation address today.
Well, and obviously we always count on the fact that whenever there is tension, like you mentioned, even with security, with the economy and a lot of things going on, hearing from the president kind of reassures the country on how far we're going, and obviously he does bring in that calming nature of you know, the words, but also kind of tells Ugandans, look, we have this is our country, we can you know, go through anything and we come out victor. So that is something that we are also looking forward to, but also at this time when we're looking forward to the national budget, I think it's also important that, you know, he talks to Ugandans about the status that we are on now. And I know a lot of issues will be addressed during that address, and obviously one you should look forward to having. And like Robert mentioned here on UBC, you can count that that will be live on air. Right now, we also want to take you through some of the stories going on, making headlines across the country, and later on we'll also be taking you through the international stories. Robert and Felix will be taking us through the local stories. Robert.
I will begin with the sad news of the death of former Luwaga South Member of Parliament, where actor Kato Lubwama has been confirmed dead. The singer, Mr. Chisemakula, is the one that confirmed the news through his social media platform, saying he is very speechless. Kato Lubwama has been sick for some time, suffering from some internal organ failures. But recently, he has been very fine doing some jokes on social media. Last year, it is when he was so bad off, but was rushed to the hospital outside Uganda, and he came back very fine.
Now, in other news, the ADF, or we see the Allied Democratic Forces, rebels in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, have burnt and destroyed Beka wooden ferry at Kambo along Semilik River to complicate operational movements of the joint UPDF and FADC forces pursuing the ADF rebels in the Semilik Valley. Now, Beka wooden ferry was the main source of income in the remote Semilik Valley, and also eased transport means for both Congolese and the route to supply joint military forces UPDF and FADC and the Operation Shuja.
National Council for Higher Education has given all universities and tertiary institutions of learning up to 30th of November to submit all the requisite information for reassessment of their academic programs. In a statement issued by Uganda National Council for Higher Education, and signed by the Executive Director, Dr. Mary Okwakwol. The Council also clarified on alleged expiry of academic programs.
Now, intern doctors who have completed studies and are now waiting to start medical practice have appealed to government for an opportunity to do internships so that they can get licenses to confirm them as doctors. According to them, their internship was to start on the 1st of April this year. These told the media at Mulago in Kampala that there are at least 2,000 nationwide. Since they graduated, the Ministry of Health has refused to release their lists and distribute them to hospitals.
Now, crossing over into the international stories, thousands of people are being evacuated downstream of a major dam which has collapsed in Russian-held Ukraine. President Volodymyr Zelensky said 80 towns and villages may be flooded after the destruction of the dam at the Nova Kakhovka, which he has blamed on Russia. Water is surging down on the Dnipro River and is said to pose catastrophic flooding risk to the city of Kherson. Russia has denied destroying the dam and which it controls, and instead blaming Ukrainian shelling. Neither Ukraine nor Russia claims have been verified by BBC. Now, the Kakhovka Dam, downstream from a huge Kakhovka reservoir, is crucial to the region as it provides water to farmers and residents, as well as the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. Now, it is also a vital channel carrying water south to Russian-occupied Crimea. Hong Kong has gone to court to ban the song Glory to Hong Kong, which became the unofficial anthem of the 2019 mass protest and has been played in error at several sporting events since instead of China's national anthem. Hong Kong's Department of Justice said it had applied to the court to order on a ban of the performance, broadcasts and sale and distribution of the song, including on the internet, on national security grounds because it had been mistakenly presented as the territory's national anthem repeatedly. This has not only insulted the national anthem but also caused serious damage to the country, and it is said in a statement on Tuesday that this was referring to Hong Kong's official name, the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region. In another story, police has fired tear gas to disperse Kenyans demonstrating in the capital against government plans to impose higher taxes. One of the controversial proposals in the unpopular finance bill is the new 3% housing fund that is being put across for all salaried workers, and a move to increase the value-added tax on fuel to 16%. Now, the bill also calls for taxes on beauty products, cryptocurrencies, and earnings by social media influencers. They are among the measures that have been opposed by many Kenyans. The dozens of protesters had sought to gather at a park in the center of Nairobi before marching to the parliament to urge MPs to reject the tax proposals. Local media reported that some of the protesters were arrested, and legislators are set to debate the bill on Thursday amid warning issued by President William Ruto and his deputy Rigathi Gachagua against those opposed to the proposals. Now, in climate news, the smoke from more than 150 wildfires burning in the Canadian province of Quebec have caused milky and hazy skies in parts of Ontario and northeastern United States, prompting authorities to warn of poor air quality. The government agency Environment Canada issued a special air quality statement on Tuesday for capital Ottawa and Toronto. Now, the country's largest city also warns that high levels of air pollution have developed due to smoke from forest fires. Smoke plumes from local forest fires as well as forest fires in Quebec have resulted in deteriorated air quality, and poor air quality may persist through most of this week. according to the agency. Well, that is it from our stories that are making headlines, but quite a little bit concerned about the situation in Kenya of people who are taking it to the streets, especially opposing taxes, and this has not been quite a good time for President Ruto, if you ask me. He's getting into a lot of very many Kenyans on his bad side, especially when it comes to tax. But I don't think there is any increment in tax that ever makes citizens happy. Even here in Uganda, the moment you say there is a certain percentage of increase in taxes, people will think, no, we don't need this, we have to take it to streets. But also the issue of social media influencers. I don't know. I hope this does not cross to Uganda, because I know a lot of them that would easily take it to the streets. Robert, what do you think about this?
No one wants to pay tax. Most people find it hard paying tax because you're supposed to pay tax from the profits you make. If you're not making profit, then you don't pay tax. But the challenge is that sometimes people are not explained very well why they should pay tax, or don't see the tax they're paying, what it's doing for them. That's also another thing. Even biblical days, remember Zacchaeus? He was a tax collector, but he wasn't loved by people that so much, because if someone believes if they don't pay tax, they're maximizing their profits. If I make profit of maybe 100 million and I'm going to pay maybe 20 million worth of tax, just take an example. If I don't pay that 20 million from the 100 million, I have my 100 million. So every time people hear a new tax, of course they know it's going to inflation, it's going to have an impact on their profit, but also new tax. You see, tax goes to the consumer themselves. Sometimes you have to increase the price of that commodity, and sometimes it reduces the buyers. Mostly if that community has substitutes. Yes.
Well, it's quite a challenge, and I don't know how this is going to be handled, because it also takes in a very crucial part of fuel when he puts a 16% on fuel. That's going to be quite an issue, but well, we do hope that Kenyans can move with the proposals and whatever happens. But we know that no one loves the taxman. No one does. The entire world, everyone hates the taxman. So it's kind of not personal, like Robert explained. Usually you think you would rather keep that money. Well, a lot of things are happening. Of course, later on we'll also be looking at what is making headlines in the papers for today. Of course, both here as well as beyond Uganda. We look at Kenya and Tanzania, what is happening, but also here, what is making headlines in Daily Monitor. Felix.
Well, in the Daily Monitor, we'll be looking at still the big headline. Now, survivors of Somalia raid lived on urine for 6 days. Now, Wukedia LC5 poll representation turns chaotic, and there's a very unsightly photo here of what probably depicts what actually happened. Now, the best pullout for English, mathematics, science and social studies, that is in today's papers, and what Ugandans expect from President Museveni today. Now, the National Council for Higher Education alters period to review courses, and Ghetto Kids, the art, talent and mechanics of that is probably what happened for them as they did return home yesterday.
Well, that and much more we'll be taking you through right here on Good Morning Uganda. We'll be going into the inspirational song of the day for this Wednesday. Now, when we get back, we'll have Newsreel, where we have more on discussion. Later than that, we'll also be taking you through the traffic updates. We go through the weather updates as well for today. Later than that, we'll also be getting into another discussion, a concerning issue in Good Morning Uganda agenda, and then also we'll be taking you through the sports highlights. And of course, at the top of that, we'll be giving you Good Morning Uganda Extra, a lot of sandwich that you shouldn't miss. For now, we go into the inspirational song of the day. We'll be back. Good morning. Well, good morning, Uganda, and thank you so much for choosing to start the day with us. It is Wednesday, and we're looking at how far we can actually help you move into today by inspiring you. And of course, this is where we do get you some of the latest updates across the country and beyond. And obviously, we do have topical discussions as well, where we make sure that you're engaged and on issues that concern you, concern the country, and some of the things that you can actually comment on. We do have a number that runs on the screen for you to get engaged in our conversations for today. My name is Mollen, Kenyena. I have the two gentlemen here with me in studio, and of course we're here to make sure that we can spice up your morning. Now also we do have a continuing issue across this country, and of course we have seen about three hospitals now that have been cut off in terms of water supply. And yesterday, the National Water and Sewage Corporation did actually have a press conference where the MD did come out to iron out some of the issues regarding the failed payments by some of these government agencies. And this has actually taken them to a decision where they do have to cut off water bills. Now, this is something we also did talk about yesterday, and we are concerned because yes, they have a justification for why they are cutting off some of these institutions, especially for hospitals. But then again, we know that they are also asking for intervention from all the concerned authorities to make sure that some of these hospitals are put back. And the latest was Hoima Hospital that was also, cut off, adding to Naguru China Hospital, as well as Entebbe Hospital that was also cut off due to the National Water and Sewage Corporation demanding for the areas that they have. Now, they also did mention a few of the government agencies or government organs that have also had those areas, and the MD did warn that they should also be ready because any time from now they could be cut off. The big question is how can government come in to find kind of immediate solutions, especially when it comes to the hospital situation, because we know that people do need health care, and this is something that shouldn't be put on hold. Now, this is just very sad because we know that a lot of Ugandans, all of us actually count on hospital help. Now, as well, on a very, very sad note, this morning, just a few hours ago, we learned of the passing of the former legislator for Lubwama South, that is Honorable Kato Lubwama, now the late, who passed on, a very, very sensational person who has inspired a lot of Ugandans right from the times we got to know him. Through his comedy, through his stage acts, and then later into parliament. This is a huge loss to the people of Lubwama South that did have to support him during the time that he was leading them as the member of parliament. And of course, we will miss his very, very inspiring nature, his very sensational nature, and of course the humor that he did bring on, not just to the people in Lubwama, but Kampala as well, Central, as well as the rest of Uganda. And obviously the fact that he was an actor, we know that his work will live on, and we want to join the family, the rest of
at $1,200, 8 days and 7 nights. To register, come to Gotove Tours and Travel at Nalkwago Complex Suta, UG's Extender, George Street, Nakasero, or call +256 758 530 059 or +256 784 568 392 or WhatsApp +256 782 556 078. Only few slots are left. Powered by UBC Television.
Ojja kumpa irisiti tompa bidala irisiti ojja kumpa irisiti tompa bidala mpa irisiti yange.
That's right. Insist on getting your e-receipt. It's your ticket to fantastic prizes, including motorbikes, laptops, fridges, and a fully paid 6-day safari for 2 in Uganda. Take a picture of your e-receipt, upload it to the URA website or mobile app, and you could be the lucky winner. The more receipts you upload, the higher your chances of winning. Terms and conditions apply. More details on our social media channels.
Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
Well, good morning, Uganda. A very warm welcome to yet our newsreel for today. And obviously, we want to dissect into the expectations that we're looking forward as Ugandans. Well, today, President Yoweri Museveni will fulfill his constitutional mandate, that is Article 101, to Parliament, addressing some of the issues in this country of concern and obviously of matter to Ugandans. Now that will be at 2 p.m. today across all radios and TV stations. You can catch that. But also, as we have expectations from what the president will be talking to us about, we know that there are issues that are already concerning Ugandans that I know people are very, very eager to listen to, and of course hearing that the president is also with Ugandans on some of these concerns, but also reassuring on how we're moving forward as a country. And we know that some of the things that the president has been very, very passionate about has been especially about the implementation of the parish development model. We do hope that that is probably one of the things that he will be talking about. But among other issues, we could also be expecting that maybe he will also talk about the security kind of tensions that have been going on, both right here at home, but also what just happened recently from our troops beyond the country, that is in Somalia, but also among other issues. And we want to kind of talk about some of them that we are concerned about. I'll bring in Felix here. Whenever the president says to talk about issues in this country, especially in a national address, you hear a lot of Ugandans that are now saying, maybe this is the time. We hope he talks about this. There's always that kind of expectation that comes in. What is yours this morning, but also representing a lot of Ugandans?
Well, today, as you did say, will be a fulfillment of his requirement under the laws of Uganda, and in particular, as you did quote, that is Article 101. Actually, something special about this article that I must say is it's a fulfillment of one of the canonical, scholarly, academic, later on also practiced methods of governance, which is called checks and balances. That does happen in the normative of separation of powers. It is not scientific that he makes the State of the Nation address before Parliament. Probably he should have organized his personal function somewhere in State House and started speaking to his cabinet. But there's a reason why legally the requirement brings into play Parliament. Now, if you have noticed that most recent third world countries, which inclusive of them is Uganda, have been struggling with an aspect of democracy. This is one of the true depictions of what democracy is. the coexistence of different arms of government, which include that is the parliament, the judiciary, and the executive. So what we are seeing today is actually appreciation of a unique, later on also important gesture that is legal. However, the purpose for State of the Nation address is hidden and embedded in the name of the function, the State of Nation address. You can look at it or you can interpret it in various ways. One could look at it in a generic interpretation, the state of the nation. Like, where are we vis-a-vis where we started the year? Because you appreciate that the same is done at the beginning. So where are we? As you prepare to read a budget, what has been covered, what has not been covered, what has failed, what is anticipated, all these must be, and that's the purpose it comes before the reading of the budget. To take stock, like the word is, to take stock of how far we have come. Okay? Now, many people's anticipations, again, are related to the events that have surrounded the country, that surrounded the various disciplines of governance. One, you can look at leadership. Later on, you can look at security. You can look at international relations. You can look at legislation. You can look at financial, social financial aspects, social religious aspects, and social culture. So today's speech is quite important, and for every Ugandan to also be able to project and know how far. Actually, it is very much informative in terms of what can be done and what won't be done in all those disciplines: social, financial, social religious, social political, social culture. Okay, because they are going to give us an explanation of why things have happened the way they have. Okay, but also to project into the expectation. One of the things that His Excellency has been quite clinged on to is the parish development model. Most recent, we have seen him traverse the greater areas of Masaka. You know, what is seen, and he has also come out to make various comments in relation to how we can make it work in terms of reporting, avoiding corruption, all these other things. So on agenda, because as I've told you, projection of what will come does entangle many things, and one of them is what is government doing to deal with the challenges most recent. For example, in terms of poverty alleviation, job wealth creation, value addition, and job creation. So there's definitely going to be a speech mention on all those aspects. Also, in an address of the same, most recent, we have seen an uprise in violence that has been marred in the contextual usage of coercive machinery like gun, or what one would call gun violence. We expect him to make a profound statement about that, because whenever these actions do come up, they cause instability, or they destabilize many things. For example, like we saw one person, I think, was attacked, was mobile money vendor or something. Now you can imagine in that region, no one probably is willing to work past 6. So all these things affect the country. As I told you, today's speech must touch those aspects: social, financial, social economic, social political. In terms of the politics, we must also get some sort of accountability, okay, in terms of what is being done. Like from the last week up till today, we have been discussing the issue of hospitals being cut off water. You would expect a comment on that. That's a matter of national importance in terms of social welfare and socio-economic welfare. It touches livelihoods of Ugandans. You know, our deployment in foreign missions like AMISOM, like the Operation Shuja. AMISOM, we lost about over 100.
54 confirmed by His Excellency that we lost as a country.
You can imagine. So there must be some sort of explanation, because these are Ugandans on an outside mission. So all these ones come in terms of energy. How far have we gone in production? You know, energy sector. Then we can look at also most recent the passing of the 6 various laws, which one including but not limited to, we had the market, an act that did touch the markets, minerals, but later on also the most controversial of them, which was the anti-homosexuality, which also brought which brought a backparting of His Excellency, the President of the United States of America. I would want to have some comment, what we call reassurance as a country, but we have heard him at various times make commentary about that. But probably for me also, for this particular one, you must appreciate greatly that there must be a discussion into dealing with what we call disaster. We have had quite a number of them previously, which one even made the inaccessibility of a greater region of, I think, the southwest, that was Masaka and onward. You know, so all these are the expectations. Where are we from, where we are, and where are we going in terms of those 4 aspects: social, political, social, religious, social, economic, and general welfare of the country.
And of course, we do expect that most of those will actually be touched on. But also yesterday, we did see that the Speaker of Parliament, as well as the Deputy, they did actually meet the President. And in the statements that came through from the Deputy Speaker, Honorable Thomas Tayebwa, did mention that this was about a consultation, of course, ahead of the budget reading. And we know that this will take place, that will be on the 15th of June, 15th this month. Regarding on how far they have budgeted as Ministry of Finance, but also all these contributions from Parliament. We know that there have also been committees that, you know, had to traverse through all these collections that they had from different agencies, different ministries, to see where we can prioritize. And I know that His Excellency is also very, very keen when it comes to priority on where Ugandans need much effort on. And obviously, over and over again, he has talked about wealth creation, and we also did see Ministry of Finance coming out to say in the medium kind of way they want to focus, mostly this financial year wants to focus on that wealth creation, but also having jobs and all these issues. We do expect that maybe there will be a lot of clarity, but usually the President does get it to the basics on where the focus should be. And of course, this is something that we expect that Ministry then takes on, and maybe it does also affect on the way we take in the budget when it comes in. And Robert, I want to bring you in here. We talk about wealth creation, and His Excellency has also emphasized over and over again. We want to know now, for example, what sectors would we be expecting that, you know, the country would want to prioritize on that, and probably something that the President would also be very much in support of.
Well, I was trying to look at last year's State of Nation address, and when you look through it, the President then emphasized more on reviving the economy after COVID-19, because we had come from COVID-19, the economy had been opened up, but we still had issues. How do we recover? How do we recover? I was updating the nation on plans to recover from COVID-19. Challenges and problems with a post-COVID situation. Now, this time around, at no doubt, we have issues of security that I believe His Excellency, while updating the nation on its state, because the State of Nation address looks at how is the nation standing in all aspects. His Excellency, though it's a constitutional mandate, comes and updates us that from the time I was last here till today, this is how far we've moved, these are other challenges, and this is how hopefully we tend to overcome them. Now, you've talked about wealth creation. This comes at a time when the NRM Parliamentary Caucus in Changwanzi has just ended. And I want to say, since the 26th of February, I think it was last year, when His Excellency launched the parish development model, he has been consistent, saying that we need to create wealth. But we cannot keep the 39% who are out of the money economy still in that manner, and we think we are going to overcome poverty. No wonder if you look at the NRM manifesto for 2021-2020, the recent manifesto, because we're also from the manifesto week, that had a theme which was job creation and wealth for all, running under the main theme securing your future. So I'm very convinced that he cannot have this State of Nation address and leave issues of the public development model and the Myoga in there. He can't abandon issues of security in there, you know, and also the economy generally. Globally, we've had challenges. No economy seems to be thriving under this time. Most of them are struggling. Some are lifting their debt ceiling, others are up, and all that. So we expect him to talk about the economy, which aspects. The good thing is this State of Nation address comes prior to the budget reading, and next week they have to convene the House for the national budget reading. But by and large, I think the most pressing issues now are poverty, which is economy, and also security, that we believe he will do so much. And his vehicle that he has always been talking about of late happens to be parish development model, a Myoga that will be all inclusive of many Ugandans, because that is one thing, if well implemented, will help steer a great percentage of Ugandan population that is in absolute poverty, so that they come into the money economy. But also issues of the environment. Recently, I see His Excellency very passionate. If you remember the directives he gave recently, where he stopped charcoal trading in northern Uganda, where he talked about the distance at least people should be away from these water bodies, where he talked about recently a speech read to him by the Prime Minister, where he talked about the Kavera, how we can run away from these single-use plastics. So aspects of environment may feature in his speech as well. And basically that is what I believe: economy, security, environment.
Well, Ugandans are having a lot of expectations, and we do ask you to come in with also what your expectations are as we look forward to the State of Nation address by His Excellency. You can reach us on our number on WhatsApp, that is 0709602592, but also on Twitter, the hashtag is #UBCGMU, and also our main handle, that is @UBCTV Uganda. But also we look at what has been happening, especially economically. Last month, the permanent secretary, at the end of the month, the permanent secretary for Ministry of Finance, that is Ramadan Gobi, did come out to mention that the inflation is actually reducing across the country. And he says this has been mostly attributed to the way the country has been moving, especially in terms of monetary policies that have actually created that kind of improvement when it comes to inflation. But also from his statements during this month, when they are looking at the budget month of June, he did mention that by the end of the financial year 2023-2024, Uganda's GDP is projected to expand to Ugandan shillings 206.54 trillion, which is equivalent to 54.99 billion US dollars. And this, of course, in turn is projected to grow our GDP per capita to that is US dollars 1,182 up to 1,093 for this financial year ending June. And obviously, you look at what now we need as a country to make sure that that happens. Because yes, it is another thing looking at the budget allocations, but also if you're looking at growing the GDP per capita, that will take in a lot of prioritizing in Uganda, but also making sure that where we're putting the money, we're growing as a country. And I know one of the sectors that the country has continuously invested in is the agriculture sector. And like Robert mentioned, the president has also been very passionate about investing in agriculture, and not to mention his call upon people to be very involved, especially in commercial agriculture. Himself, he has gone on ground. We did see that through his recent trip to northern Uganda, where he did even try to iron out the issue on the, that is the Balalo over there, looking at how they have disrupted a lot of activities in northern Uganda, and actually did ask them to leave the area, but also on the issue of charcoal. He's trying to be very much inspirational when it comes to supporting the practice of agriculture. We did see him commissioning a plant in Masaka as well towards the same, and this is one sector that we're always looking for, that if very well handled could actually create a lot of growth here in the country. And obviously we do expect that there is ahead of the national budget, this is something that still the president will emphasize. And of course we have seen a lot of projects that have been geared towards that. First of all, the Emyoga, you look at the parish development model itself, especially benefiting up to parish level. Now, because people usually listen to His Excellency talk about these things, but the uptake of that, and Felix, maybe you would comment on this, the uptake after listening to His Excellency emphasize on where we should go, where he expects the budget to be, and what Ugandans should do, we usually see a lot of challenge meeting those expectations. And as we look forward to this address, what can Ugandans really be keen about, especially to match the projections from Ministry of Finance?
Well, you know, what informs allocations is the projected need. And need arises from various reasons in every discipline. For example, when you want to talk about per increase in production at a country level, what are the things you look at? When you want to grow your GDP, you must activate the processes of production and also limit something called importation. That's the reality. This week I saw His Excellency William Ruto asking the members in this country, guys, let's be serious. How is it that we are still importing furniture? Those are the questions I want His Excellency today to ask Ugandans. Why are we still importing humongous amounts of clothes? Okay? In Uganda is a country where we also import posho, rice. What will happen for our local producers? Sugar. So these are the questions we must ask if you're talking about something to do with GDP, and that what is left for the local market to consume in terms of sharing a market space. When you say our producers, for example, you have invested in a parish development model, people are trying to do work and all this. But if you do not also fight to create market for whatever they are doing, the project will not be seen to the end of it. Okay? Standardization, value addition, like we have said before, quality vis-a-vis quantity. Have we answered the question why I would prefer to buy a shoe that is imported from Italy than the one made in Uganda? Do we put the relevant support to the need? Is our support geared towards need than want? And that's a big challenge that we have faced as a country in terms of, like, when we are allocating support and all these programs and even the budget, is it geared towards the need or what we want as the people in administration of the country? And I can give you various examples. Projects like Emyoga, parish development model, are world class. let me tell you, countries come here to learn, to benchmark. But our implementation is still the challenge, which is being marred by corruption. That is the big, big challenge. Every time you read a story in the paper, someone has run away with money, all these kind of things. But then, one of the causes of corruption in these projects is because they are not necessarily well aligned with the needs. Do people get support in the areas of need or the areas of where government wants, which is not wrong though also, because government is like the brain of the country. It must be able, for you may want to do this, but to tell you, no, let's do this because this is where we are going. It is not wrong. But most times, it is a bit defeating when we don't give enough time to train people and change the aspect of mindset. So, in today's speech, there's a lot to be touched. For example, yesterday there was a story about medical interns. A couple of months ago, we saw some university somewhere coming out to say that Ugandans have not studied for the last how many years because what they studied is expired. The head of state should kindly give us some confidence.
You know what happened yesterday? National Council for Higher Education came out and clarified that that document that circulated indicating expiry of courses, they have confirmed, and the University of Cambridge, where they had said that, as a fake document.
That's not right. That's them just playing defense, but we won't go into that.
And
that's besides our topic today. Because you remember when the document first came out, remember their statement?
We have delayed, so now they give universities a time frame.
Because also, there's no way such a document would have gotten to the ambits of all the universities, because we had important people comment. We had all the
students that were not admitted because of that.
Absolutely. Yeah. So how do you say it was fake?
Well,
yet universities based on it to make decisions
at a press conference.
You see, and that's where we normally go wrong. Why did that statement come in immediately?
They are still verifying.
Verifying how? Come on.
Now they have verified.
But we do expect that those are some of the issues that could probably be.
And this is what I'm saying, that these are some of the challenges, administrative errors that happen, but they are costful. Administratively. Same story we have been talking about national water. Now it has become fashionable. I think by close of day we would have got another hospital, and by morning there tomorrow we would have kachiringa ekifuse kyokuzanya Naguru, Entebbe, Hoima, you know. And these are the things that His Excellency, as the father of the nation, should be able to address, not leaving out anything. Why? Because you need to build confidence. In terms of politics, there are controversies. You're hearing there's an uprising of a fraction, there's a Kirabo somewhere. Is it time for us to do politics? Because those all touch the greater canonical appreciations of democracy. And those are questions to him as the father of state. There's no way he can run away from them.
Though here he is listened to in silence.
You can imagine.
It's the constitution. The president will address the nation, but he's listened to in silence. Meaning
you can't ask questions. Of course,
you can't ask
yeah,
questions.
Which is why you
but he's the one giving
prior consultations, like
absolutely.
His meeting with the speaker,
actually,
deputy
that's
speaker.
the thing. Even if it wasn't with them, because, but His Excellency in his docket, he entirely supposed to respond to what people. That's entirely his duty, because he's a representation of the whole country. So he's not going to come and start telling us about his good family, about the issues probably he has had with his grandchildren. That is not important for us as a country. Definitely it's going to be about matters. That's why it's called the state endava. What is the state? Yes. The most important things in terms of security, welfare, the commodities, the biting economic hard times. As the PS of Ministry of Finance comes out to say that
they've been able to reduce inflation.
But what is the reality? Children have just gone back to school. This is like the third week or second week. But how many of them have gone back to?
Scarcity of money is one of the ways of fighting inflation.
How many? Yes, scarcity of money, but what is the effect? But the big question is, how did we get there? You can't be talking about the fighting. How did we get there? If we don't understand how we got there and how to remedy that, we are going to get back in the same. These are things His Excellency must address without fear nor favor.
Well, we do expect that those are all as part of the things that he will talk about, but also we did see statements that came from Ministry of Finance looking at the priorities for this financial year. And of course, one of them, actually the first one on that list, was about the parish development model. But they also went ahead to say that next to that would be upgrading of the infrastructure across the country. We know that in the recent past, we've taken huge undertakings when it comes to improving our road infrastructure, and I think one of the biggest now is the Entebbe-Kampala Expressway that was made way back, and of course we know that now there are other expressways that are also underway, still under construction.
Of the Kampala.
Yeah, the Ginger, extending up to Ginger, all those that have been in the pipeline. We expect that this is something that now with this financial year, they can actually do address. And if it is being prioritized, we know that the president would also be really concerned about it. But there is always a question of how it gets from, even if the president were to talk about it, priority in the budget, but then on ground, some of these projects keep, extending to the next financial year, extending, and you never know where the problem really is. Or maybe we know, but there needs to be support. When the president says this should be done, he's not going to be everywhere on ground. Make sure that some of these roads, for example, are done. Just recently, we saw Ugandans taking it to social media about the pothole exhibition in Kampala. And this actually did spark comments from the president saying he asked the ministry to finance to allocate monies to make sure that these are filled. So the moment we also
have... according to KCCA yesterday, when they were appearing before Kosase, the Deputy Executive Director confirmed to Ugandans that they have been able so far to cover 70% of the potholes in Kampala.
We are asking how many of those other regions are being affected, especially when it comes to delays in infrastructure. Yeah, and probably Robert does relate to some of these guys from KCC. What extent are we looking at here when it comes to implementation?
Implementation has always been a problem in our country. One, because you must have clear monitoring and supervision for you to have implementation. I'll use a very simple example. Here we are. We have to start this show at a given time. But if we are not the people are accounted to, we are accountable, apart from our audience, do not watch, do not follow what is going on. Human nature may be in one way or the other, may lose focus. Now, government programs, many that come in goodwill to transform our economy and our people, the biggest challenge they have is that monitoring and supervision is not there. So at the end of the day, you can't have implementation, because there must be someone to monitor. There must be someone to supervise. And they will tell you that, Robert, we said in the first 3 months, this is going to be done. So why aren't we doing it? There must be someone to supervise and say, no, if you do these things this way, you may take longer. That is why most of the time you are State House Health Monitoring Unit. When you don't have a team that is out there to say, this program, this government program, this government project, this is what we planned to do, someone must follow up what we planned to do. Not just to say, let's leave this for this directorate. Let's leave this. If you don't have a monitoring aspect of it, then implementation will be almost impossible. That's the biggest challenge. And what complicates things so more is that most of these things, we've monetarized them. Talk about anything in government, what is the budget for that? You get it? budgets become budgets, even where you think they could be maybe goodwill, people could be patriotic, people could feel it's upon them that if you're a project manager, if all money has come into your docket, if you're a parish chief, that the parish development funds in your area, you should be zealous to see implementation. What happens is, well, we don't have a budget for supervision. We don't have a budget for this. And because of this monetarization of everything, then we end up failing to implement what the program talks about or directs. So it is simple. We must strengthen monitoring and supervision. Look at our education system. Good on paper. But how many district school inspectors do you have? How effective can they go? That's why they will tell you in some areas that teachers come, we see them at school, they move away, they go and teach in private institutions. That's why they will tell you, sometimes we've seen lapses in security. Remember they were asking, how did this man, because those mandated to monitor, those mandated to supervise are not there. So you cannot have any successful implementation of a project. The other thing would be also why these programs don't succeed, don't have proper implementation, is the communities or would be beneficiaries. How informed are they? I can rightly challenge people, go to any constituency, okay, a parish. How many parishes where you can find that 50% of the people understand the parish development model, leave alone hearing about it, but understand parish development model? It has 7 pillars that we can do, that 50% of that parish can understand, and I'm talking about leaders. I mean LC1, you know, leaders in that area, that they can explain to you what it's all about, how you should get this money, who should get this money. Pillar 3, because what's making more of sense. So when the public is not informed, then it can't call people accountable. Because if you don't know if you benefit or you don't benefit, how are you going to tell me we've not benefited from what you're supposed to get? So lack of awareness among the public becomes a problem, and they don't have the right information. They just move on here, says we are talking about PDM, Emioga. Yes, it's a very good program, but do people understand this program? Do they know what it really entails? Or are they going to be excited? Look at the failures we've gotten so far. The gaps we've registered, misuse of funds, SACCOs registered, Kirabo, Felix, and Mollen registering, you know, as members. They're already in the money economy. So these are the challenges we face.
Well, some of those that we do expect that Ugandans will be very, very much involved in, and of course with support. When it comes to implementation, it needs to come from both sides. The Ugandans, but also you have to make sure that you are informed, because if you're talking about this financial year prioritizing the implementation of PDM, it means that even the beneficiaries, we should be aware of this, and of course that calls on local government as well to reach out and create awareness. But lastly,
you have a budget for that.
And you see that's why we're still looking forward to that.
When you go to them, yes. But Kirabo, you see, do you have a budget for that? Monetarization, I don't know how this thing came. But even if it's holding a meeting to gather what? Do you have a budget for tea? Do you have a budget for this? Do you have a budget?
Those things that should be ironed out.
No. That's the evidence of what the Honorable Francis Baban, we have something we have been saying here time and again. We have the wrong people doing what would be the right thing. No wonder some of these projects don't move, they are stalled. Someone will ask for a budget of drinking water as if he didn't leave water. It is a project didn't run because so
the willingness of also some
it's
of
the wrong people. And one of the challenges that is hindering government performance is cadreism. Cadres. That thing.
But I thought cadres should be more visionary and willingly to work for the good of the government.
Not in this country.
That's the idea.
That's the ideal, yes.
Yeah.
You know, but the cadreism, it has to be Kirabo. It has to be Mollen because they are colleagues. They're the ones who believe in my agenda, but they are not executors. Some of them are not professionals. I'm made to believe the RDCs have a big role to play in the implementation of the PDM. But how knowledgeable are they in terms of project planning, execution, monitoring, evaluation? These things are not human gifts that because someone has a head, they can do them.
It's talent.
No. These are things that are, some of them are academic. What questions do you ask? At what point do you break? When do you stop? When do you proceed? These are academic things. Some of them are supposed to come out of training. But some, because, and that's the challenge. That's the challenge we are having. So I think it's something for us to pick a leaf. And there's a lot that leaves to be desired, I'll be honest with you. Yeah.
And obviously, we will also be looking into more of your comments that are coming in through social media, but also the ones that you're sending via our mobile. But we're still looking forward to the State of Nation address by His Excellency, and of course that will be today at 2 p.m. as he gives that address to Parliament, and some of the key issues that we do expect to be talked about as Ugandans look forward to as well. That is ahead of the reading of the budget that will take place on the 15th of this month, and obviously that gives us an idea of what moves forward as we look into the next financial year, how we look to also grow our economy. That is something very, very important. We will leave it at that, and then obviously we'll also be going in for quite a short break. We have more updates coming in for you. Good morning.
Eyange irisiti tompa bidara irisiti ojja kumpa irisiti tompa bidara irisiti ojja kumpa irisiti tompa bidara mpa irisiti yange.
That's right. Insist on getting your e-receipt. It's your ticket to fantastic prizes, including motorbikes, laptops, fridges, and a fully paid 6-day safari for 2 in Uganda. Take a picture of your e-receipt, upload it to the URA website or mobile app, and you could be the lucky winner. The more receipts you upload, the higher your chances of winning. Terms and conditions apply. More details on our social media channels.
Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda together.
The Magical Egypt Tour 2023 is here. A heavenly miracle waiting across the natural and divine attractions of Egypt, such as Cairo, Giza Pyramids, Saqqara, Memphis, and many more that will offer the gift of a lifetime. The chance to unlock all of the hidden powers of mind and soul, gain the enlightenment of the past and the future, and develop the power of healing. Departure will be Friday 16th up to 23rd June 2023. Basic package starting at $1,200, 8 days and 7 nights. To register, come to Gotove Tours and Travel at Nalkwago Complex Suta, UG's Extender, George Street, Nakasero, or call +256 758 530 059 or +256 784 568 392 or WhatsApp +256 782 556 078. Only few slots are left. Powered by UBC Television.
Uganda presents Saka Free Balls, King of the East, also recognized by the Kabaka of Uganda. Palazzo in Laves on the 9th of June at the Cricket Oval. 20k ordinary, 50k VIP. Tables go for 3 million shillings. For discounted tickets, use the MTN mobile money by dialing *165 *89 for 15k ordinary and 45k VIP. On Saturday the 10th of June, Mbara Ajip Motel. Sunday 11th of June, Fort Portal Grounds. Friday 16th of June, Luwero Grounds. Saturday 17th of June, Ginger Trans Garden. Sunday 18th of June, Mubende Stadium. Organized by Samavulu Badam. Come and witness the best concert of a new generation. Miss at your own risk. Sponsored by Pepsi Cola, Century Property Royal Estate, Mango Safari, Protea Hotel, Radio Bow, and MTN.
In the last last few years, the national resistance movement has been retreating or caucusing in Chankwanzi. But the last 10 days, ministers, members of parliament that subscribe to the NRM have been there. The biggest question is, will it have any impact, or is this a ritual? We see the economy, we talk about the young people, the women, and we ask ourselves if any impact will be there. Tonight, we have a panel of an illustrious experts to explain this and more on your biggest show, Behind the Headlines, with me, Timothy Nyangweso.
All on your public broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Well, good morning, Uganda. Want to look at the traffic situation on the roads, and we'll be looking at some of the connecting roads of connecting to Kira Road, as well as those coming in from the northern bypass via Mulago. And we're seeing a little bit of traffic that is building up. That is, if you're coming in also from the northern bypass, connecting via Mawanda Road, that is where we have a bit of that is kind of intense traffic. If you're using that road, you might need to be aware of that. But also it does actually get clear as you head towards the joining junction to Kira Road. But also through the connection that is from Mawanda Road, if you look at the upper Mawanda Road as well, that looks to be quite clear to use this morning, so you could actually take that detour. It would still get you onto the Kira Road, which looks to be also okay. That is, as you move towards a town, that looks to have very clear traffic indicated by the green lines over there. And of course, you also look at the connecting side, right from areas of Mulago connecting as well towards Kira Road. You also have the upper Mulago, where you have quite clear traffic for you to use this morning. That should be okay to navigate. That is Mulago Upper Hill Road, that is also having clear traffic. But then again, as you join towards Kira Road, that is where there is a lot of traffic building up. Also, that does stretch all the way up to the roundabout, so you might need to be aware of that. Also, that connects to the road that is coming in, that is from Binaisa Road does have also intense traffic. It does come in from the side of also Kalere. If you're using that road, that is from Gayaza Road, it does get intense all the way up to the roundabout with Binaisa Road. You also have some of the connecting areas over there. You look at also Makere Hill Road. For those joining onto the roundabout, that is from the Makere side towards Kira, you have a bit of intense traffic over there, but it does get a bit of clear if you're leaving the roundabout towards Wandigea. Also, the lower side, that is towards Useful Ray, you do have clear traffic over there indicated by the green lines, so that should be also okay to navigate through this morning via Useful Ray. But also connecting from Binaisa Road, you look at some of the connecting areas. Nakasero Hill Road, you have intense traffic just as you leave the Haji Musa Kalwe Road to join into Nakasero Hill Road. You have intense traffic there, but then again it does get clear just as you cross over into that Lumumba Avenue. So crossing onto Lumumba Avenue, then you have clear traffic. Also, Lumumba Avenue itself does have clear traffic. If you're using that route, that should be okay to navigate this morning. Continuing with Nakasero Road, you also have clear traffic just for a small distance, but then again as you get to the junction that connects in Wandigea Road, that's where traffic starts to build up from the Nakasero area, but it does clear as well if you go ahead, and that leads onto the roundabout onto that is the 6th Street, where you also do look at clear traffic over there all the way. And of course you do have again intense traffic building up towards the roundabout at the square, that is Peak Road, and the two roads connecting onto City Square, that is the Square 1, Square 2. You have a bit of traffic to the roundabout, but then again it does get clear and of course leads you into Central Town. Now, also away from that, we'll be looking at the weather updates, looking into the satellite over Uganda for this morning. We also did see quite a clear morning across most of the areas within the northern region, and that is continuing even throughout this morning. We're looking at mostly the northeastern part of the country, that is across the Karamoja region, where we're starting off quite clear with sunny skies, and of course we also do have intervals of cloudy conditions coming in through towards the northwestern part of the country. That is across Arua, Yumbe, that extends up to Gulu, Kitgum, Lira. We're looking at the white colors right there indicated on the map. That is to show a mix of clouds and sunshine. Same situation across parts of eastern Uganda. You're looking at areas of Amuria, also looking at Soroti, Mbale as well. That is having a mix of clouds and sunshine. And we're also looking at quite cloudy weather towards the midwestern part of the country. That is where we have Hoima, we have Masindi over there. It does also get towards the central area as well, towards Nakaseke, towards Wero. You're looking at quite a cloudy one for this morning, but that will also be followed by intervals of sunny conditions. So we do expect that most of that will dominate throughout today morning, that is across that area. But also looking at the Lake Victoria Basin, where we're seeing some of those blue colors starting to develop over there. We do expect that we'll have rains again over the islands of Lake Victoria, also in the forecast for this morning, and we expect that those cloudy conditions will continue to extend towards the western side of Lake Victoria. So areas of Masaka again for today in your forecast, it does indicate that we will be looking at more rains coming through for much of today morning as the day progresses into afternoon. And also that will continue throughout the southwestern part of the country, where we do expect that we might also be having rains developing over there. The western parts of central still focusing on areas of Luwero, Nakasongola, Woblenzi. You also do have rains in the forecast for today, so that could be propagating across the area for several places, but also the western stretch of the country all the way from West Nile. Look at Midwestern, and that could take in the central north as well. well, we're likely to have rains over there as the morning progresses, but also mostly in the afternoon hours, especially for the western stretch. We also do expect that Mount Elgon Highlands, that is across Mbale, across areas of Palisa, looking at also Busia, we could be looking at rains in your forecast later on today. That is across several places within the Mount Elgon areas. Also, temperatures are quite warm across the country. We're looking at the mid-20s for much of the southern sector, and also it does indicate that again we're looking at in the upper 20s to 30. That is for the northern part of the country, with Karamoja region even expected to get up to 30 degrees centigrade as well this morning. Well, that is all we have for this morning. We will be going in for Good Morning Uganda agenda that does come in right after this. My name is Mollen Kenyena. I want to wish you a nice day.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
When you talk about our motherland Uganda, the Pearl of Africa, you cannot fail to smile because of the smile that fills the faces of the citizens. Our nice good weather and nature that sustains us all, that enables us all to continue each in their own way, because we are all different even according to each individual's work. But what joins us to become one person is the sweetness from the flavored drink Alleluia Ginger Tea drink and Alleluia Tamarind drink. The flavor that quenches your thirst while at the same time treating and healing your body, because it is 100% natural. Enjoy the drink that has got the tamarind juice in it. Made by Alleluia Reflexology, Healthy Solutions and Nutritional Research Center Limited. Get yourself a bottle of Alleluia from all shops around.
Talk with freedom. Get MTN Freedom Voice Bundles that don't expire. Dial *100 *21# or my MTN app for more bundles. Together, we're unstoppable.
In the last few years, the national resistance movement has been retreating or caucusing in Chankwanzi. But the last 10 days, ministers, members of parliament that subscribe to the NRM have been there. The biggest question is, will it have any impact, or is this a ritual? We see the economy, we talk about the young people, the women, and we ask ourselves if any impact will be there. Tonight, we have a panel of an illustrious experts to explain this and more on your biggest show, Behind the Headlines, with me, Timothy Nyangweso.
All on your public broadcaster, UBC, Inspiring Uganda.
Eyo jole se yange eyange irisiti tompa bidara irisiti ojja kumpa irisiti tompa bidara irisiti ojja kumpa irisiti
tompa bidara mpa irisiti yange. That's right. Insist on getting your e-receipt. It's your ticket to fantastic prizes, including motorbikes, laptops, fridges, and a fully paid 6-day safari for 2 in Uganda. Take a picture of your e-receipt, upload it to the URA website or mobile app, and you could be the lucky winner. The more receipts you upload, the higher your chances of winning. Terms and conditions apply. More details on our social media channels.
Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together.
My name is Atube Richard, a member of a group called Kanyope, located in Bungatira sub-county. This group started in 2008, but the Prelnol project started supporting us in 2009. The project has offered us training on farming, and the training we got has helped us immensely. We used to farm in a traditional way, planting a variety of crops. But when the team from Prelnor approached us, they asked us to choose particular seeds to grow which can yield very well in our area. We chose groundnuts and rice, which we are growing. With this kind of farming, the project also taught us how to sell as a group after finding a market. The support from the project has been so good to us.
When you talk about our motherland Uganda, the pearl of Africa, you cannot fail to smile because of the smile that fills the faces of the citizens. Our nice good weather and nature that sustains us all, that enables us all to continue each in their own way, because we are all different even according to each individual's work. But what joins us to become one person is the sweetness from the flavored drink Hallelujah Jingati drink and Hallelujah Tamarind drink. The flavor that quenches your thirst while at the same time treating and healing your body because it is 100% natural. Enjoy the drink that has got the tamarind juice in it. Made by Hallelujah Reflexology, Healthy Solutions and Nutritional Research Center Limited. Get yourself a bottle of Hallelujah from all shops around.
Amaina ndina vile Jennifer okuva mwero si ekigusa ekyaganibwa muterere town council we bwatuuka nga ndi kunika business kange kano nalinako nga amaani matono ino aye nawuliriza nkoze magezi ki ka business kange kano okweyongeramu abaye mulango ogwaida gwa gavumenti nti eriyo emyoga gyamba abantu kusitula mu buli muntu mbeera y'abataalimu najaayo kirungi nali leader najira mu group y'aba leaders nafunayo obusente naida nayongera mu ka business kange kano era nigano mukaganire nga nikano bwe kali kati tiyambisa bubi yambisa bulungi nga bwe muli kugibona sente jona difuniye mu ngabo ndi kubakobera danga sisa mu kwa business yange bwe yali kibweri yeyongeiremu sente dino danga sa kalenze basebo mbebaza ba programu ye mwatuletamu nebaza nti kabiri banange we buli awo kyongero nga muri kumbona nkayenda bwende wale nali wansi ayi kabiri butindizie kuku waigulu.
Nkwanga Ramazan is my name, the head teacher of this great school, Ikumbia Seed Secondary School. The school has the staff room well furnished, administration well furnished, the computer lab well furnished, the library wonderful, the multipurpose hall well furnished. The teachers are also enjoying in the staff quarters. The school has teachers totaling to 28. Ikumbia Seed has embraced the new curriculum. I want to thank the government for that bright idea. There are many students that end up in senior 4 with no document. But with the coming of the IT, the skilled children are going to have certificates in skills as early as senior 3. And that certificate is equivalent to a senior 4 certificate. Ikumbia Seed Secondary School is a very great school that has influenced the lives of people or changed the lives of people of Ikumbia sub-county. I want to thank the parents and the government for this kind of input.
Ladies and gentlemen, this June 2023, we celebrate 33 years of a legendary school music doctor and professor, Sir Paul Saka, live at Kampala Serena Hotel, Victoria Hall, in a live music concert, dubbed 33 years of Paul Saka and school music in Uganda. All happening on 11th of June 2023 with Rama Namakula, Pastor Wilson Bugembe, Helena Nanjego, Stella Kayaga, Flona, Namkasa Bettina, Flash Love, Rebecca Jingo, Catherine Kusasida, and Sir Mesa Semakula on 11th June at Serena Hotel, Victoria Hall. Entrance is 100,000 shillings, 50,000 for students, and a table at 2 million. For reservations, call 0782-222-550 or 0701-043727. Sponsored by UBC TV, Star TV, Star FM, Magic TV, and all UBC radios. Budo SS, Hardware World, Clever's Origin Schools, St. Michael and Thomas Junior Schools, Nansan Achebando, Lady Valeria Vocational and Business College, and
Silk Events. So when you pay your taxes, you are investing in the future of Uganda.
Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda.
Chebakalo gamanti sente yura eze tukunganyamu zezima lokola ebintu bino byonna enguudo amasomero ebye n'ebintu ebirala. Muzei abasajja basoza sente nyingi nnyo olaba boda boda banza ke miliyoni aga
miliyoni ana
zo waboda
Bonza tundwa kutunze mmere wa restaurant.
Nyabo sigo wa restaurant muchere nyama bisi boba miliyoni nkaga
echi
bari katachanza adina kawushibe na kabala muzei kaza yake bofude mufi chichi
lekera okulimba URA era omusolo gwe bayita presumptive tax oba guyita omusolo ogwafa oba business obutono obuyingiza okuva ku miliyoni 10 paka ku 15 obutasukkawo omwaka
kati olonze banategera batinyingiza yange
ate oba olina okukuuma ebitabo byonna byonna ebikwata ku bizinensi yo ate ekyangu kwe kugenda gwe kennyini n'obeesooka n'obatwalira ebitabo bino ku ofiisi zaabwe eza URA ezikuli okumpi awo ne babeera nga bagerekera omusolo omutuufu
ekitegeeza bali olina kwetega beetege
kyekyo bwe beetege bweteze osirike
ekitegeeza bulimbi
era bwe ate baakulimba nnyo kubanga ate mu ababoda mulina sasula emitwalo ejja omwaka
mitwalo ebiri
Alengulira gwesebe obadde oyogera ebigambo nga babikunyumiza n'otulimba abantu abakulu wamata bakutunyonyole
URA ekujjukisa okusasula omusolo gwo ogwa presumptive tax guno gwe musolo ogusasulwa abo abaddukanya bizinesi entono era gusinziira ku nnyingiza ya bizinesi yo nga gusasulwa omulundi gumu buli mwaka gw'ebyensimbi. Genda mu ssimu yo onyige kamunyenye 285 kadaala oba sasula ng'okozesa mobile money oba mu bank oba kozesa ba mobile agents. Uganda Revenue Authority, tukulaakulanyize wamu Uganda.
This is the University of Africa. On the streets, you get your real education. Here, everybody has a degree of something. But the most important qualification is imagination. Her reason to imagine is slay. His reason is to be the goat. Theirs is to take a beat and make it lit. They want to test edgy until it is fire. Their reason for imagination is to add riz in style. Her reason to imagine is finesse. And hers is to find what's new and bussin'. So no matter what your situation, just use your imagination.
This isn't just a girl. She is the future. This is a teacher, a doctor, a community leader, our future president.
Their support meant so much to me. And as a teenage girl, I stayed focused and was protected from child marriage and teenage pregnancy. I will support other girls against child marriage and teenage pregnancy.
Take action. Report any case of defilement or child marriage to the police or call Sauti 116.
Amaina gange nze Basibe Benadi, Field Officer wa Ituba A, Ituba B na Kibengo Kikokoli obumu ku byalo Modo Village muzeyi de yasalawo okugayigawaza ngatola abantu mu bwavu. Atya muzeyi aje atuweereza ebintu ngente, embidi, ebigogo, mwogo, nanansi twagabira abantu abamuli okumpi. Ayo omala kweteekateeka tubaleta bulete ntukuwa nga tuwetesetese ngente olina okuzimba ekiyumba ekyente. Yebambidi ekyembidi, yebembuzi ebyembuzi. Nga tumaze kusomesa twakutraininga wakola ebyetaagisa. Wobanga oli kwenda mbuzi tulina engeri tukutraininga mu wazimba ekiyumba ekyembuzi. Era bwe tuba tukuwaira embuzi eyo nezaala twenda kwenkaana. Enkaana eyo tunoonya omuntu ataafuna twasolozaako ku bantu nga basatu abazaaziiza. Twagaako omuntu owundi ye tumaze okutraininga yonda tukola tutyo ente tukola paasonu embidi dona tukola paasonu bantu bangi bafuniemu. In fact nga Modo Village nsuubira nti abantu nga 10 bafuniemu kuba abandi bazimbyemu amayumba abandi balisomesaamu abaana ago tibalifuna bukalu bwino okutoolakuyo omuntu oyo omulala atafaayo kuwulirisa mulanga gwa gavumenti.
I'm Atowaze Ronald, supervisor at Kirabo Residential Demonstration Farm, Maige District. We train farmers, we handle interns. There are some people around who have emulated what we have been doing at the farm. They have been given the testimony to have improved their earning and standards of living. So for those who are there out who have never been at the farm, we welcome you. Nothing will charge you. Come at the farm, have a study, then you can choose the enterprise you think.
So when you pay your taxes, you are investing in the future of Uganda.
Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda.
Kyebagala ogamba nti sente URA ezetukuŋŋaanyamu ze zimala okukola ebintu bino byonna enguudo amasomero n'ebintu ebirala. Muzeyi aba abasajja basolooza sente nyingi nnyo olaba bodaboda banzako emiliyoni aga
miliyoni 4
emiliyoni 4 zowa boda
olowooza atunda okutunza emmere wa restaurant
nyabo sigo wa restaurant muceere nyama bisi waliwa miliyoni 6 eki katiachaniza alina kawoshibe n'akabaala muzeyi kati yake gofudde mufi kiki
leka nawe lekerawo okulimba URA era omusolo gwe bayita presumptive tax oba guyita omusolo ogwafe oba business obutono obuyingiza okuva ku miliyoni 10 paka ku 15 obutasukkawo omwaka
kati olonze banategeera batinyingiza yange
ati oba olina okukuuma ebitabo byonna byonna ebikwata ku bizinensi yo ate ekyangu kwe kugenda gwe kennyini n'obensooka n'obatwalira ebitabo bino ku ofiisi zaabwe eza URA ezikuli okumpi awo ne babeera nga bagerekera omusolo omutuufu
ekitegeeza bali olina kwetega beetege
kyekyo bwe beetege bweteze osirike
ekitegeeza bulimbi
era gwe ate bakulimba nnyo kubanga ate mu ababoda mulina sasula emitwalo ejja omwaka
mitwalo ebiri
alewulira gwesebo obadde oyogera ebigambo nga babikunyumiza n'otulimba abantu abakulu wamata takutunyonnyole.
URA ekujjukiza okusasula omusolo gwo ogwa presumptive tax. Guno gwe musolo ogusasulwa abo abaddukanya bizinesi entono era gusinziira ku nnyingiza ya bizinesi yo nga gusasulwa omulundi gumu buli mwaka gw'ebyensimbi. Genda mu ssimu yo onyige kamunyenye 285 kadaala oba sasula ng'okozesa mobile money oba mu bank oba kozesa ba mobile agents. Uganda Revenue Authority, tukulaakulanyize wamu Uganda.
In the last few years, the national resistance movement has been retreating or caucusing in Chankwanzi. But the last 10 days, ministers, members of parliament that subscribe to the NRM have been there. The biggest question is, will it have any impact, or is this a ritual? We see the economy, we talk about the young people, the women, and we ask ourselves if any impact will be there. Tonight, we have a panel of an illustrious experts to explain this and more on your biggest show, Behind the Headlines, with me, Timothy Nyangweso.
All on your public broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda.
This is Good Morning Uganda. Live from Now Avenue in UBC Studios. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Thank you for being with us and welcome to Good Morning Uganda Agenda on UBC TV. In case you have just joined, I'm Robert Kirabo Nyonyintono and this is our morning show. Every weekday we are here from 6:30, so make it a date with us. Start your day with us. Be with us because we ensure we wake you up with what some today call vibe because we have so much light moments here and there, some jokes, yet very informative discussion, because we enable you to start your day well informed about what is happening locally, what is happening internationally, regional, so that you're well versed and you can fit in any reasonable worth discussion, because you're an informed person. You began your day with us. Now, in this segment, we usually have a guest or guests in our studios, and we look at issues of national concern. Now, Uganda, we are in a multi-party dispensation. We had a referendum, and we chose to allow people associate with the political parties of their will. Now, recently, we saw the members of the NRM Parliamentary Caucus going to Chankwanzi for a retreat. They came up with their resolutions and issues that they discussed. But also the opposition members had their retreat, not members of parliament, say, but the opposition, some members of the opposition in Uganda, held their retreat as well, and they came out with a retreat statement that focused more on electoral reforms. Now, talking about electoral reforms, they first surfaced in 2014. They were a bit of it. Then 2019, we also saw the talk of electoral reforms. Now, what were among these reforms is what we are going to be discussing, and the possibility of their implementation. And joining me this morning is a seasoned politician, once presidential candidate in this country, but also he happens to be the principal of the DP bloc, but also a member of the Red Card movement, who is Samuel Rubega Walter Mukaku. If I've forgotten any name I've not mentioned, well, you can remind me. Welcome and good morning.
Good morning, Comrade Kirabo. Good morning, UBC. Good morning, everyone.
Mukaku, how have you been? It's long since I saw you so much on the political arena of this country.
I really don't know why, Comrade Kirabo, you had forgotten all about me, but thank God you still thought it was important for me to come and share views with Ugandans like you used to. And I thank you for that. Politics, in politics there is no sabbatical because every day we have political phenomena, either in policy or determining people's livelihoods, determining the future of our country, and trying to manage the possibilities. Yeah.
Now, first, a short one and a quick one. You're a member of the DP bloc, then you're a member of the Red Card movement. We once saw you very also vital in the National Unity Platform. So when we are describing Mukaku politically, who is Mukaku?
Yeah, before maybe I go to that, you'll excuse me. We have lost a very, very prominent member of the DP and DP bloc. That is the Honorable Kato Lubwama. It's my condolences to the family, the wife especially, and the people of Rubaga South, where I come from. And I wanted to represent like he did. And I hope everyone will converge this morning to go and pay the last respects, and we shall be there to bury him. You want to locate Samuel Walter Mukaku?
Yes, I'm trying to politically, where does he lie? Where does he offer allegiance, loyalty?
He's a revolutionary Democrat, by all definition, especially in these times of misrule, dictatorship, plunder, where we have lost focus. We need to find our locus.
As opposition, you've lost focus?
No, as the country, because we have failed to fix the big question of leadership failure and also of misgovernance or bad governance. Governance, we have failed. We have tried many times since independence. When we thought when the colonialists, we wanted to chase the colonialists so that we could fix our country, unfortunately, opportunities have come and gone. The last one is almost 40 years ago when we had to sacrifice lives, and we thought maybe that would help fix the country. Unfortunately, the systematic and now total capture of our state, of our institutions, and loss of direction. And what has happened? Misrule, dictatorship, plunder, whatever you can think about. So our country needs to be fixed. But in order to do so, we've got to realize the leaders, current leaders, whether in opposition or in government, you've got to know that it's our duty. It's our duty to give leadership out of the mess we are in, out of the chaos we are in, out of the loss of direction that we are in. And that will mean we need a transition.
That's the alternative.
And that will mean not succession, not continuity of what we are having. We need transition out of this mess and then fix our country back to a democratic path.
Mukaku, how are we going to do this?
So you were asking?
Yes.
You were seen in, I've never been NUP, okay? I tried to think that we could steer that people power movement where everyone comes in, DPs, JEMA, ANT, even movementists, and FDCs, and those who don't have parties. Whether you belong you belong to Uganda, Bunyoro, Toro, Busoga, or you're Catholic or Protestant, and then agree on a new direction, work for it, like I've always done. Unfortunately, people now went out and said, no, we create a political party, because we were at the crossroads. We create a political party, but don't forget there are also other political interests. And when you start to create a political party, don't even mention this, as they did. If you are not NUP, you are not with us.
Yes.
That is where we lost direction with our people power movement. But Samuel Walter Mukakroga still believes an outfit like the people power, which bases on the people deciding their course, and then bringing in the critical forces like the security services, the international community, and the diaspora groups, we can work on that particular transition. So I am a DP, I belong to the DP bloc, and I'm a principal of the DP bloc, but who works with every other force to ensure that we have a transition. That's why we have ended up creating, last time with the Chiza messages and the like, we don't belong to the same political parties, but we created a people's, the PFD, the People's Front for Transition, which many people now call the red card, because our symbol was the red card. We are still working with even those who did not join the PFT, NUP, ANT, and many others, and soon after you'll see what rebuilding and reconstructing that people's
Mukapu, there is a belief that people like you, Kiza Besije, and a few are looking for relevancy on the political scene of this country, but literally may not do so much, because if in a multi-party dispensation, many believe one must be loyal to a political party, respect its constitution, and abide by it. When we see people moving with the tides of time, many may think, then it's just about how do I stay relevant? How do I stay popular? How do I stay flaunting amidst the storm?
Well, everyone is entitled to their views, but that is denigrating our sacrifices, human sacrifices, community sacrifices, because we belong to communities. Their interests, that's denigrating us to that level, but it is their view. When the Musevenis of this world went to create FRONASA, eventually came back in UNLA, finally still went for elections, finally went back to fight a Bush war. Were they just riding the political tides? No. I'm sure the answer is no. Leave alone the fact that today they have participated in capturing, in this total capture that we have, systematic and total capture. But they were not wasting time. Personally, as Mukaku, have I ridden? Is that the proper, yes?
Looking for political survival.
Have I ridden the political time?
Opportunities available.
Probably I've tried to create many with others. You remember with the Dr. Semogere, we're not the same age. I left my university with a degree. I am a professional teacher, decided to work on that while Dr. Semogere was still in the NRM. They came back to the DPA because they found we had created branches. Today what you refer to as the leadership up the grassroots of the Democratic Party, it was our effort. When the Mzeis came, we worked together and they mentored us, okay? When things didn't go right, as you remember, in 1996, still we had to work until the people in the reform agenda, we worked with them. I was not a reform agendaist, but the cause that the reform agendas put forward was the right cause, because even the NRM at the time needed reforms, people thought, and they had not realized that we were now riding on a trajectory of systematic capture. Now today it's clear. Look at what happened when people went for the retreats, whether in Chankwanzi or in Munyonyo. You can see the phenomenon of capture written on the horizon. So we are not just riding the tides. We want to create a new tide, a people's tide that can fix this country.
Okay, now that was said and given us a background actually of who the guest I have in studio is, and of course the political tides more so when you look at how the opposition is running. Now, just like we said last week, the opposition had their retreat and they came up with electoral reforms. One, we want to see various political analysts have looked at these as, can they really be a reality and implemented? I'll just go through a few of them in the interest of time, the most highlights, where we had restating term and age limits. That is one of the things in the opposition retreat resolutions. We had removing the army from parliament. We had voting for the vice president, abolishing the prime minister's office, transfer some roles to the office of the vice president, terminating the that is trimming the size of parliament. Now, one would say,
and of government.
yes, and of government. Now, one would say we're in a democracy where the winners take it all. And most of the times you've seen the opposition push for a number of reforms, but the game of numbers beats them. Let's begin with these. Were they resolutions put maybe for generations to come, or can they be implemented? And can you sail and push this through?
You know, you're right to put this question squarely, but of course it refers to what you've just mentioned. Are we actually in real terms, are we actually in a multi-party dispensation? I would say, and you will agree with me, that we are officially and supposedly in a multi-party dispensation. I repeat that. We are supposedly in a multi-party dispensation. But then, you remember when that man, Dr. Kanu Kizabesije, came out, said we have gotten off the rails. The Namutaika, you remember? It's what the late Serwanga Lwangas talked about, what the Kategayas, what the Amanya Mushegas, what the Ruzindanas of this world, what the Kazolas have been putting down. These were insiders, and some of them are still insiders. What I'm telling you, the agenda which Comrade Akena of the UPC captured as well, ably put in that retreat at Munyonyo, the program of the NRM. We are going to use the gun to capture the state and its institutions. So it is an honest. I would interest you to read that program and see how it has unfolded up to today, when we have total capture of a few, the deep state in church. For you continue to refer to things like there is the state. There's no state. The state you are referring to is not there. What is there is the deep state. So the rest of this. Now, when
has to be more space.
I'm going to
because
that.
we are limited by time, and I want us to spend most of the time lamenting and giving situations. Then we move away from
really painting a picture of what
we have to discuss.
What the reality is very important for us to understand. And then I go to your topics. Number one, with legal notes number 1, which you remember, which fused the NRA and NRM with the state institutions, starting the trajectory of the capture, and creating what we call artificial majorities at different tiers of people's representation, what we call National Assembly and the executive, now even the judiciary. You'll never have the numbers because they are artificial majorities at the National Assembly and the local government assemblies. So, and when they created the Constitution, much as the very good words, remembering where we've come from, you know that the people have power. Then they removed the very gifts that give the people the power. When they went to the CA, manipulated. 38 elected by one person, 10 for himself. Then the women. So you did not have the numbers. What happened? Even the safeguards that were put, which you have just mentioned, presidential term limits and all that, remembering where we had come from, you know, in a reference. So they have been removed, artificial majorities. To amend the Constitution, and they were very skillful, the squealers of the time, to amend the Constitution, you've got to have 2/3 majority.
Yes.
529 MPs, supposedly. Where would you get the 2/3 majority?
Then would we blame that?
I told you, because it was systematic.
Leave alone being systematic, Mukaku.
Yes.
Because we've seen a shift, if you observe our politics very well. In the just concluded elections, we saw the opposition under the National Unity Platform wave sweep many constituencies that had been dominated by NRM over and over.
Kirabo, what do you call many?
And yes, I can mention number of members of parliament. Yes, number of constituencies that these people came on board. Now, the fact that we are talking about need for members of parliament, the fact that we see that we're going to an election, and we're all looking at numbers. I'll take an example of the guest I have in studios today. That some of these, don't you think there are weaknesses upon you members of the opposition? Look at a constituency like Lubaga South, where I had Mukasa Rosias, my OB. We had Rubega Mukaku. We had another.
I'm sure you won't like to go into that story.
You know, because and everyone knew that, well, this man had been instrumental. You failed is either of greed, then forget that at the end of the day, we need to organize ourselves. So at the August House, in the August House, we have the numbers. So then how do you stand and tell us that your failures to organize yourselves and secure victory for you to be able to sail through your desires in the August House is a blame to the sitting government?
Of course, in any political governance system, there will be failures of some groups and some interests not to get the members of parliament that they would have. But again, you are working in a fixed structure. That's the difference. A fixed structure, gerrymandered, totally maneuvered and manipulated, and totally captured. Now, in gerrymandered constituencies, where one constituency, for example, in some municipalities, which are just equal to Chengera. And you look at what Segona now represents, from Maya, Katale, up to Baka, and up to Kachiri, Buloba. Forget all about getting the numbers that you want. So in that system, let's be realistic, in that particular system, where gerrymandering has taken stage and space, where rigging, where money, commercialization, where patronization has taken place. As a people, we need to do something to change that. But what I'm saying, the only thing that we will achieve for the already fixed and the captured structures is to create space to mobilize the masses, to hammer the message, to inform our allies in the struggle, whether they're in the civil service or security services, and to engage them effectively, and to engage the international community, and to unveil the captor and the misruler and the misgovernors and the plunderers. Then we will have automatically, whether they want or
for
not,
the last 2
we will
decades,
have the numbers.
for the last 2 decades,
electoral reforms.
For the last 2 decades, Mukaku, you've tried to do that. I remember I was still a student when we had Dr. Kiza Besigye, a man I respect in the opposition, because I must say, in my days, is who I've lived to see the opposition. Yes, others have come, but he's been there for some time. And for that, I respect him being there and sustaining whatever he has sustained. Many have come and they have not. But the things you've talked about are what he has been doing. With Robert Kyagulanyi, they even had the Tubalabisa, I think that's what you're saying. But all these, where are you lacking as the government in waiting? What aren't you getting right? Because at the end of the day, we know that even if the international community doesn't come in, and I'm one African that does not believe in the international community.
But the international community can be African.
Well, you guys don't talk of international community. You're not referring to that. Because I've seen Libya, I've seen Libya, I've seen Iraq, and a number of where people thought solution will come from the international community. And I believe Africans, we have the best solutions to our problems. But that said, Mr. Mukaku, what is that you feel? Because at times we feel like maybe you're getting there. I'll never forget, as a reporter, when I covered this, what was it called, where we had Professor Gilbert Bukenya, Honorable Mama Mbabazi, Kiza Besigye, TDA, how we spent nights as reporters, camped at around police headquarters now. That's where they had the offices up there in Naguru, around there, waiting for them to come up with a single candidate. And we followed these things, Mukaku. And we thought, yes, at the end of the day, morning, very tired, the gentlemen come up and they have failed to achieve that great, maybe would be so much instrumental into this. So, do we have that opposition that can do what you're saying when over a time you seem to be failures into that?
Like democracy, revolutionary movements can be messy. It's not a trajectory that is smooth. And people try and stumble. If you look at President Museveni and what he intended to do, leave alone what the others who worked with him thought they were doing. Even when you go along the President Museveni trajectory, he started in 1960, mid-1960s. He tells you how he fought to ride the ranks of the then UPC government up to being second in command to Onama, and then as he was trying his level best, in Wamunanika, he as Amin has taken over, and then he runs to Tanzania. It was a long trajectory. He tried, he stumbled. We have also had long overstaying dictatorships, whether on African continent or elsewhere, the Pinochets, the Diops, and the like. But eventually, you keep trying. You keep trying. And you must ask the question that you have just put to me. What is it? Is that you're not doing right? And if you don't ask that question, then you will never correct the wrongs in order to achieve one. But what you must learn also, that every other step, do things that you have never done before. Because continuing to do the same thing will not help. So that's why, while during Semogere we had the IPFT, thinking that the institutions would help, up to the IPC, then the TDA. As you are capturing the TDA phenomenon, I was locked out. As TJ, myself and the Lubwama, we were locked out. And people were not allowing us to come. And we were forced. Then we put that force to act in the next elections. That's why you saw us going to Chadondo and all the way to Arua and all and everyone knew that we were also relevant. So there definitely have been mistakes. But we are saying that's not the end of the journey. Every time we do things, I'm telling you now, people are just like when we went to Nyonyintono, everyone thinks it is about those electoral reforms. It's about getting the space, the opportunity to hammer the message, and the opportunity to unveil the veneer on the captors and dictatorship. And then, so that everyone now knows. Today,
so let me get it clear from you, Mugaku.
Just a little bit. Yes. Today, when so many people cannot get the salary, cannot be paid, the little salaries that they have, all ministries and departments, money has been said, there is no money, the roads are in a mess, everything. People now are understanding, and the message is sinking. So the other date was Semogere, the next date is Besige, now it is it has been Chagulanyi, it could be Kirabo, all the way from UBC, and we say that now Kirabo is the man. Oh, Mukaku again, because now even in that what we agreed, that what we need now, we don't just need leadership. We need a leader that is up to the task. Up to the task. If we are going to use a certain strategy, you don't just pick any leader. We just need a captain, but a captain that fits the task. And slowly,
how are you going to get these captains? Mukaku, how are you going to get these captains, or that particular captain? Because yes, we rightly accept, and our viewers will accept with us or agree with us, that these reforms, if they are to see the light of day, they will come to Parliament. And if they are to come to Parliament, definitely you don't stand a chance as the opposition to secure a victory. I don't see you
because we don't have the 2/3.
You don't have the 2/3. Yes. Neither do you have the sufficient convincing tongue that can enable people from the NRM who may not view them as worthwhile because they didn't surface anyway in their retreat.
We're also captured anyway. Yeah.
Whatever. So now, you see, for everything the foundation matters. And I must say, most of the political parties in this country, not exonerating NRM, they are more so touched and attached to the founders. Talk about FDC, yes, we have the president, Patrick Oboy, but you can't put Chizabesi out of the picture.
Oh, he's going to be pushed out.
You have now DP, that one of course an ancient party.
The Mukakus and Semogeles have been pushed out.
Those have been pushed But so, how are you going to, I don't see how the opposition can amalgamate forces and select an individual captain to take you through.
No, we are actually doing it. If you were in Nyonyintono, you could see the realization. Even people talked about the TDA, you said. While some people at the moment, those who pulled out Dr. Kizza Besigye and the like, thought to hell with the TDA. In Nyonyintono, people said, we still needed the TDA. Because even after going through that elections, you needed that outfit. So there are realizations that are being made. The number one, we need an outfit where all of us, that front, where all of us can pull together, NRM, DP and whatever. And secondly, that let everyone do their bit. You remember in the reunions and the DP block, when we talked about the one-to-one model, even when you go for an election. But it also works when you go for a civil uprising. It can also work if you are to use the Museveni means here. Because you remember during the time, during the Museveni's, West Nile Bank, and then Museveni in Kasese, and then the Kaira stuff. It works for all sorts of things that you can think about. So even when we're going to use the people's insurrection, if you wanted to do so, it will still work. We only need to think about how do we handle it? How do we command it? How do we get that leadership? How do we have the command and control such that we kutaiza, we kutaiza the misrulers, the captors. And this I would say because it's an open context.
How are you going to get to that, Mukaku, when now When we talk about, we keep on referring to the likes of General Yoweri Museveni in his times, they had a common enemy and they had common pressing issues, and finances may not have been their key. Today, you're very united and have very good visions as the opposition before we near elections. When we get there, division of constituency, political positions tear you apart, and all this effort goes to the dogs.
Yeah, it's and Kirabo, you are helping us to analyze where the problem is, and I thank you for that. While some of us have seen it over and over, the number of people who had not seen it, and there are those who now, they are new, the young people. Others may not be young, but they want to join into the political fray. They just think, if I went for that constituency, I would have a job. And we are saying, okay, we know you have that is your aspiration, but there is a problem we must deal with. We need revolutionary commanders even to sit in our particular positions. But you keep on mending and fixing the problems for the revolutionary trajectory. And as I say, never mind, we may not have the numbers in parliament. And you remember the Toji Kwatako? You remember? It sparked on a revolution which we were talking about, which now brought into the fray the ignored and rejected young people.
Let's conclude. Your parting short time is just against me. Sports coming up next.
Thank you.
Well, let me just have your final remarks in just a minute, please.
My final remarks is that we don't need to lose hope. While some of us may be going in our evening years, the young ones learn from us, learn also from our mistakes. Then together as Ugandans, we need to fix this country, create one front. That's what we have been doing with Dr. Kizza Besigye and the likes. Wake up Uganda, look in the face of the captors and the dictator, and deal with the problem head on.
Well, I want to thank you for your time. Yes. Samuel Walter Lubega Mukaku, principal of the DP bloc, and also was once a presidential candidate in our election. Thank you for your time. We have been looking at electoral reforms that were presented by the opposition during their retreat. However, still Mukaku insists that these may not see the light of day because they do not have numbers. So how do they prepare for a systematic way that will enable their wishes and desires make it to where decisions matter? I'll return in the next hour. Ruben is ready to give you sports updates. Keep it with us on UBC TV.
This is Good Morning Uganda.